What's an orgasmic feeling that isn't an orgasm? Peeing when you've been holding it for a long time and you've really had to go. When I passed my first kidney stone, I had a partial blockage, which meant that for about 6 weeks I constantly felt like I had to pee 247. The kind of having to pee like after a long night of drinking, but every time I tried to pee only a few drops would come out and the urge to pee never went away. When I passed the stone and heard the plink as it hit the porcelain, followed by my first real piss in over a month, I don't think any orgasm will ever come close to how good that felt. Edit. Shout out to my homies at Our Kidney Stones, a wonderful and supportive community if you are suffering from these spiky bastards. You brave, tortured soul. You deserve a medal and $1 billion for not yeeting yourself off a cliff. I had a kidney stone when I was 8 years old. Yeah, I know. Pretty young, but we found out it was because I drank a lot of a certain beverage served all over the Southeast us, sweet tea, that had high levels of a substance that caused a calcified kidney stone. It was the only time in my life that I've ever seriously contemplated suicide as an option. The pain was so bad I begged my dad to just let me kill myself in the conscious spells between vomiting and passing out. This freaked my parents out more than the fact I had a kidney stone. They had to go to therapy over it, I found out later. Sweet tea causes kidney stones? I drink that quite a bit, you've got me nervous. Sweet teas are generally high in oxalates. Calcium oxalate stones are some of the most common. I used to make them on the reg. Good times. Also, don't worry yourself too much. If you've consumed lots of tea your whole life and haven't made any stones, just don't overdo it. There's usually other factors, dehydration, poor diet, etc., that contribute to stone making. For me, it was partying hard in my early 20s, drinking a lot, working out a lot afterwards, and an extremely high protein diet that did me in. The moment when you've been congested all day and one nostril finally opens. Farting away a stomach ache. Back scratches. Especially when you have an itch, and they know exactly where to scratch and hit the mark with a single stroke. Actual waves of pleasure spreading over my back right there. Closing those 10 tabs, Word, PowerPoint after finishing a project assignment. Being comfy in bed and feel yourself drifting off to sleep after a long day. When that piece of popcorn finally comes out from between your teeth or gums. One of those complete body stretches. The ones that make you want to go back to bed. I scrolled so far to find the stretching comment. I reclined my couch about 2 weeks and had one of those full body stretches, grunting the whole time. For a second or two afterwards, you just feel complete. Climbing into a warm and cozy bed when tired after a long day of work. Color me strange, but I like getting into a cold bed. I love getting into bed when it's winter and I'm shivering, but specifically those moments when the shivering subsides and it starts becoming cozy. I'm a grown-ass man, but I cannot help being so ducking giddy when that happens. Just like cheesing to myself, it never fails to make me smile. Dude, yes. I love this exact feeling living in winter climate. When it's cold out and you just get under the sheets, full fetal position, rubbing your hands together to warm up extra. Wow, just amazing. I know this feeling. I grew up in Michigan, and it certainly was one of my favorite feelings. Then my family moved to Texas. We get a month of cold nights every year, but from April to January I sleep naked on top of my sheets holding my balls so they don't fuse to my thighs, praying for the kindness of a hanging spider to fart in my direction just to cool me the duck down. Why don't you just crank the AC down, you might ask me. It's because my fiancée, the love of my life whom I simply could not do without, cannot stand the AC being below 78. She sleeps in full pajamas under a sheet and 2 heavy blankets and sleeps like a drunk toddler. If I drop the dial down to 76, you'd think she was on an episode of I Shouldn't Be Alive Today. She summons the last reserves of survival instinct she has left to force herself to move, because she'll die of hypothermia if she lets herself go to sleep, you see, and wrapped in several blankets and a parka, inches her way to the thermostat in her snowshoes and turns it back up to 425 with her frost-bitten fingers, and sets out a frozen pizza so that when I wake up screaming, I'll at least have a tasty snack and the room will smell good. Taking my boots off after working in them all day. Or ski boots after not working all day. Ski boots to normal shoes are intensely orgasmic. Peeing after holding it in for a while, then getting those goosebumps. Pee shivers are a very unique feeling. Any sort of head massage is a win in my book. Either head is good with me as well. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Funny part about my back is it is located on my cock. Superbad me. I'm on chemotherapy, and I recently went 50 days without keeping down solid food. The first time I digested unbuttered mashed potatoes with chicken broth, it felt like a non-stop 3-hour orgasm the entire way through. I can honestly say this is the first time in my life I've ever seen someone recount a positive story about chemo. I'll give you another one. My chemo was pretty bad, but fortunately I had no trouble holding down my food. I did, however, get completely bone tired from getting up and going to the restroom, exhausted. Have you ever hiked? You know that feeling when you've really exerted yourself for a long time, right at your limit, and you find a place just to lie down for a bit? It was that same feeling once I laid back down in bed, but literally 10x as good. It was actually as good as an orgasm. It was amazing. And all my body hair fell out, so I also had that smooth, freshly shaved leg experience that chicks always talk about at the same time. That's also just as good as I'm led to believe. And since I was so tired, I felt that every single time I sat or laid down. It really did bring cancer from a 010 to a solid 310. It was that good, lol. Hope you beat cancer's ass. Glad you were able to find the silver linings. Hey, thanks. And it seems to be gone. It was a curable type of cancer, so I think I'm in the clear. Head scratches. That part of a great song that makes your spine tingle. Finally taking a huge dump after holding it in. When Etta James sang At Last, that's what she was talking about. If that's followed up with a dry wipe, that's better than sex. A dry wipe. So satisfying. I've had nothing but paperwork for years. A no wiper to my college roommate was a sign of good luck. But you gotta wipe once to know it's a no wiper, so it's never really a no wiper. Schrodinger's wipe. The end of a migraine episode. That feeling when the meds finally kick in and it feels like all the vessels in your brain just fly open? So weird, yet so good. That's not what happens to me. It's actually weird in how consistent my migraines are. After a few hours it'll just be gone. And not in a satisfying way of feeling the pain stop. It will be gone as if it had never existed in the first place. I don't even notice until I realize I'm not in pain anymore. I used to experience the inverse of this. When I was in a loud and hectic kitchen environment, I would just get in a worse and worse mood until I was snapping at my coworkers. I would get told to chill and head out for some fresh dumpster grease trap air and then look at a streetlight and nearly vomit from the pain as I finally realize I have a migraine. You know when you go swimming, or even just tilt your head the wrong way in the shower, and you get water stuck in your ear? You shake your head back and forth trying to get it out. You even jump up and down with your head leaning over sideways. But the water just won't budge. You eventually go to bed and lay on your side, hoping gravity will pull the water loose. You lay there, waiting and hoping. Finally, it happens. That water in your ear breaks loose with a single, crisp swoosh sound. You can finally hear clearly again, and you can go to sleep with no more pressure in your ear. That's a good feeling right there. Love it. For some reason it always feels warm, too. Like 98.6 degrees kind of warm? Scratching your ankles right after taking off your socks. Also, rubbing your eyes after removing your hard contact lenses. Eyes first, then ankles. The last payment. Paid off my wife's minivan and our dining room table and chairs this week. And got a bonus and a raise. What's the opposite of a perfect storm? Edit, and now add my first Reddit goal to this week. Thank you, random person. Going to buy some lottery tickets today. Edit 2, Cracker Pockets suggests calling it a double rainbow, and I think that fits perfectly. Cable's first Christmas, 3 years ago, Happy Thanksgiving. Edit 3, 4 scratch-offs were all losers. Powerball is tonight, which happens to be my and my wife's 11th anniversary. Edit 4, I'm not a millionaire, but my mom still thinks I'm a winner. You're living the dream, my good man.